Imagine having a mind powerful enough to see things that other people never notice. You understand patterns faster, you recognize problems before they happen, you can analyze situations deeply while others only see what is on the surface. People might call this a gift. They might tell you that being intelligent means you have an advantage in life. But there is a side of intelligence that almost nobody talks about, because the same mind that helps you understand the world can also make the world feel heavier. The same ability that allows you to see more can make it impossible to ignore what you see. And sometimes the greatest strength of your mind can become the thing that makes you struggle the most. Because intelligence is not just about knowing more, it is about noticing more. And when you notice more, you begin to see things that cannot be unseen. You start seeing hidden problems, hidden emotions, hidden motives, hidden patterns in yourself and in others. You begin asking questions that most people never ask. Why do people behave the way they do? Why do relationships change? Why do some people succeed while others stay stuck? Why do humans repeat the same mistakes even when they know better? A curious mind keeps searching for answers, but sometimes the search never ends. And that is where the hidden cost of intelligence begins. Most people imagine intelligent individuals as people who have everything figured out. They imagine someone confident, successful, and always prepared. But intelligence does not automatically create peace. A powerful mind can solve complicated problems, but it can also create complicated thoughts. A person with high intelligence may not simply experience a situation, they analyze it, they break it apart, they search for deeper meaning. A simple conversation can become an investigation, a small mistake can become a lesson, a small change in someone's behavior can become a question. Why did they say that differently? Did something change? Is there a reason behind this? The brain keeps collecting information, and the more information it collects, the more connections it creates. This ability is useful. It helps scientists discover new ideas, it helps creators imagine new possibilities, it helps people solve difficult problems, but the same ability can create a problem. The mind that is good at finding answers can also become extremely good at finding problems. This is why many intelligent people struggle with something called overanalysis. They do not just think, they think about their thinking. They do not just experience emotions, they analyze why they feel those emotions. They do not just make decisions, they examine every possible outcome. What if this happens? What if I choose wrong? What if there is a better option? Their brain creates hundreds of possible scenarios, and while this can protect them from mistakes, it can also prevent them from moving forward. Imagine having a security system that is designed to protect a building. A good security system detects danger when it appears. But imagine if that same system sent an alarm every time a leaf moved outside. Eventually, the system would become exhausting. The problem is not that it detects things, the problem is that it never knows when to stop. An intelligent mind can sometimes work the same way. It keeps scanning, it keeps analyzing, it keeps searching for something that might go wrong. And after a while, thinking feels less like a tool and more like a burden. This is one reason some highly intelligent people appear quiet. They're not always quiet because they have nothing to say. Sometimes they are quiet because their mind is processing too much. While others are reacting immediately, they're considering possibilities. They're thinking about consequences. They're trying to understand the complete picture. Their silence is not emptiness. It is often internal activity. A room may look silent from the outside, while inside someone's mind, hundreds of thoughts are happening at the same time. But this creates another challenge. The more intelligent someone becomes, the more aware they often become of uncertainty. A simple mind may look for simple answers, but a complex mind understands that many questions do not have simple answers. Life becomes less black and white, people become more complicated, human behavior becomes harder to predict. And this awareness can create frustration, because once you understand how complex the world really is, you cannot go back to seeing it as simple. A person who learns how persuasion works starts noticing manipulation. A person who studies human behavior starts noticing hidden emotions. A person who understands psychology starts recognizing patterns in relationships. Knowledge creates awareness, but awareness comes with responsibility, because once you see something clearly, ignoring it becomes difficult. And this is the first hidden struggle of intelligence, the burden of seeing more than others. The question is not whether intelligence is a gift. It is. The question is whether a person can carry the weight that comes with that gift. Because sometimes the brightest minds are not fighting the world outside them, they're fighting the endless activity inside their own mind. The next hidden struggle of intelligence is the inability to turn the mind off. For many people, thinking is something they do when they need to solve a problem. But for some intelligent people, thinking becomes their default state. Their brain is always running in the background. Even when everything is calm, the mind continues searching, searching for patterns, searching for explanations, searching for possibilities. A simple decision like choosing a career, sending a message, or making a purchase can become a complicated mental process because an intelligent mind can imagine many different outcomes. It can see the benefits, it can see the risks, it can see what might happen now and what might happen years later. This ability is powerful, but it creates a difficult question. When does careful thinking become too much thinking? The difference is not always obvious. Careful thinking helps you make better decisions. Overthinking traps you inside those decisions. A person may spend hours analyzing a choice that could have been made in minutes, not because they are incapable of deciding, but because their brain keeps discovering new possibilities. Every answer creates another question. Every solution creates another problem to examine. The mind keeps saying, but what if? That small question can become incredibly powerful. What if I fail? What if I choose the wrong path? What if there is a better option? What if I regret this later? The intelligent brain is excellent at predicting possibilities, but the future contains unlimited possibilities, and trying to calculate all of them is impossible. This creates something interesting. A person can be smart enough to understand many outcomes, but not always wise enough to know when to stop searching. Because sometimes the goal is not to find the perfect decision, sometimes the goal is to make a good decision and move forward. But intelligent people often struggle with perfection. They can see the difference between what exists and what could exist. They imagine improvements. They notice flaws. They see opportunities everywhere. This is why many creative and intelligent people are never fully satisfied with their work. A writer finishes a book but thinks about how it could have been better. An inventor creates something amazing but immediately sees its weaknesses. A successful person reaches a goal but starts thinking about the next problem. Their mind naturally searches for improvement. This ability creates progress in the world. Almost every great invention began with someone thinking, there must be a better way. But the same mindset can make personal happiness difficult, because if your brain is always searching for what could be improved, it may forget to appreciate what already exists. Imagine standing at the top of a mountain. A normal person might look around and think, this view is incredible. But a highly analytical mind might also think, could the weather be better? Is there a higher mountain? What is beyond this? The curiosity is valuable, but sometimes the mind forgets to simply experience the moment. This is one reason intelligent people may struggle with being present. Their mind is often somewhere else. Analyzing the past, planning the future, creating imaginary conversations, replaying old mistakes, thinking about things that have not happened yet. The brain is trying to protect them by preparing for every possibility. But preparation has a limit. At some point, preparation becomes a prison. A person can spend so much time thinking about life that they forget to actually live it. This is especially common among people who are highly self-aware. Self-awareness is usually considered a positive quality, and it is. It helps people understand their emotions, it helps them improve, it helps them recognize mistakes, but too much self-awareness can create another problem. A person becomes extremely focused on themselves, how they appear, how others perceive them, whether they made the right choice, whether they said the right thing. A simple social interaction can become a mental review. What did they think about me? Was my response strange? Did I make a mistake? The conversation ended minutes ago, but the mind is still analyzing it. This happens because intelligent people often have a strong ability to simulate situations. The brain can replay events and create alternative versions. What if I had said something different? What if I reacted another way? What if I noticed that earlier? This ability is useful when learning from mistakes, but if repeated too often, it becomes exhausting. The past cannot be changed, yet the mind continues trying to rewrite it, and this reveals one of the biggest challenges of intelligence. A powerful brain can create solutions, but it can also create endless questions. The same imagination that allows someone to create incredible ideas can also create fears that never happen. The same ability to predict the future can create anxiety about a future that does not exist. The same ability to understand people can make relationships feel complicated, because when you see deeper layers everywhere, the world becomes more complex. And complexity is not always comfortable, but there is another hidden cost of intelligence that is even more surprising. Sometimes the more intelligent someone becomes, the more alone they can feel, not because they dislike people, not because they think they are better, but because finding people who understand their way of thinking can become difficult. And that is where we discover another side of the intelligent mind. The next hidden struggle of intelligence is the feeling of being misunderstood. A highly intelligent person often experiences the world through a different lens, not necessarily a better lens, not a more valuable lens, but a different one. They may spend more time thinking about ideas, possibilities, and deeper meanings. They may enjoy conversations about concepts that others do not find interesting. They may question things that most people simply accept. And this difference can create distance. Imagine being excited about an idea that has been occupying your mind for weeks. You finally share it with someone, but they do not understand why it matters. They change the topic, they give a simple answer, or they look at you like you are thinking too deeply. Over time, this can create a strange feeling, the feeling that your thoughts are difficult to share. So instead of explaining everything, you start keeping more inside. You become quieter, not because you have nothing to say, but because you have learned that not everyone wants to explore the same depths. This is one reason some intelligent people appear reserved. They are not empty, they are selective. They choose carefully where they invest their attention, because conversations require energy. And for someone who naturally analyzes everything, a shallow conversation can feel mentally exhausting. They may not want to discuss only what happened. They may want to understand why it happened. They may not only ask, what did this person do? They may ask, why did this person behave this way? What experiences shaped them? What hidden emotions influenced that decision? They naturally search for deeper layers, but this can create a problem. The world does not always reward depth. Sometimes it rewards simplicity. Sometimes the person who speaks confidently receives more attention than the person who thinks carefully. Sometimes the person who reacts quickly appears smarter than the person who takes time to analyze. This can be frustrating for intelligent people because they may see complexity where others see simple answers. They may understand that a problem has many sides. They may recognize that two things can be true at the same time. But many situations in life are not comfortable with complexity. People often want quick answers. They want clear heroes and villains. They want simple explanations. But intelligent minds often struggle with simple explanations because they know reality is complicated. They understand that human behavior is influenced by thousands of factors. A person is not just their mistake. A decision is not just one choice. A situation is not just one cause. Everything is connected. This ability to see multiple perspectives is valuable. It helps people become better problem solvers. But it can also make decisions harder because the intelligent person sees every side of the argument. They understand why one person thinks one way. They understand why another person disagrees. They can argue against their own opinion. And while this creates open mindedness, it can also create uncertainty. Sometimes knowing more options makes choosing more difficult. This is called the paradox of choice. When there are too many possibilities, the brain has more difficulty committing to one. A person with fewer options may simply choose and move forward. A person with many possibilities may continue searching. Is this really the best choice? What am I missing? Could there be something better? The mind keeps searching for certainty, but complete certainty rarely exists. And learning to accept uncertainty is one of the hardest lessons for an analytical mind. Another hidden struggle is that intelligent people can become extremely aware of their own flaws. They notice their weaknesses, they recognize their mistakes, they compare their current self with the person they believe they could become. This can create constant self improvement, but it can also create constant dissatisfaction. A person achieves something impressive, others celebrate. But inside their own mind, they are already thinking, I could have done better. There are still things I don't understand. I still have so much to improve. Their awareness of what they do not know grows with their knowledge. This creates a fascinating psychological effect. The more someone learns, the more they realize how much they do not know. A beginner may feel confident because they only see the surface. An expert often feels humble because they see the complexity underneath. The intelligent person may not feel intelligent. They may feel like they are constantly discovering how much more there is to learn. And this can create a strange contradiction. From the outside, people may see confidence. Inside, the person may experience doubt. They may question themselves more than others realize. Because intelligence does not remove insecurity. Sometimes it creates more awareness of imperfections. But this does not mean intelligence is a burden. The goal is not to reduce your ability to think. The goal is to control it. A powerful mind is like a powerful tool. A knife can create something beautiful in the hands of a skilled artist, but without control, it can cause damage. Intelligence works the same way. Without balance, it can become overthinking. With balance, it becomes wisdom. And that difference is what separates people who are trapped by their thoughts from people who use their thoughts to create a better life. Because the true purpose of intelligence is not to analyze everything forever, it is to understand enough and then take action. A powerful mind is not the enemy. The problem is not intelligence itself. The problem is when intelligence is not balanced with emotional awareness, because the human brain was not designed only to think, it was designed to experience, to connect, to create, to enjoy. But many intelligent people become trapped in one mode, thinking. They analyze life so much that they forget to experience it. They search for explanations when they should be feeling. They search for certainty when they should be accepting uncertainty. They search for the perfect answer when sometimes the best answer is simply to begin. The most successful and fulfilled intelligent people are not the ones who think the most. They are the ones who know when to stop thinking and start living. They understand that intelligence is a tool, not a place to hide, because thinking can solve many problems, but it cannot solve every problem. Some things cannot be calculated, some moments cannot be optimized, some experiences cannot be understood until you simply experience them. A sunset does not become more beautiful because you understand the science behind light. A friendship does not become more meaningful because you analyze every conversation. A life does not become better because you predict every possible outcome. Sometimes the mind needs permission to be quiet, and this is where emotional intelligence becomes important. Emotional intelligence is the ability to understand and manage emotions, not ignore them, not suppress them, understand them. A person can be extremely intelligent academically, but still struggle with their own emotions. They can solve complex problems, but struggle to communicate what they feel. They can understand the world, but struggle to understand themselves. True intelligence is not only knowing more, it is knowing yourself, because your mind can be your greatest advantage or your greatest source of suffering. The difference is awareness. An intelligent person who understands their own patterns can use their mind as a powerful instrument. They can recognize when they are overthinking. They can notice when analysis has become avoidance. They can understand when searching for the perfect answer is actually a fear of making a mistake. And once they recognize this, something changes. They stop fighting their own mind. They start working with it. They realize that uncertainty is not always a problem to solve. Sometimes it is simply part of being human. They realize that mistakes are not evidence of failure. They are information. They realize that not every thought deserves attention, because having a thought does not mean you have to follow it. This is one of the most important skills an intelligent person can develop, knowing which thoughts deserve your energy, because your attention is limited. Every day, your brain produces thousands of thoughts. Some are useful, some are creative, some are warnings, and some are simply noise. Wisdom is learning the difference. The intelligent mind asks many questions. The wise mind knows which questions matter. And this is where intelligence transforms into something greater. It becomes wisdom. Intelligence can help you understand how things work. Wisdom helps you understand what is worth your time. Intelligence can help you predict consequences. Wisdom helps you choose which actions create meaning. Intelligence can help you win arguments. Wisdom helps you know when an argument is not worth having. Because the ultimate goal of intelligence is not to prove that you are right. It is to understand reality more clearly. And sometimes reality is uncomfortable. Sometimes the truth you discover is not what you hoped for. But the ability to face uncomfortable truths is one of the greatest strengths of a powerful mind. A person who can see reality clearly has the opportunity to change it. The dangerous thing is not knowing too much. The dangerous thing is knowing something and refusing to accept it. So, what is the dark side of intelligence? It is not loneliness. It is not overthinking. It is not awareness. Those are only symptoms. The real challenge is learning how to carry a powerful mind without allowing it to control your life, because a sharp mind can cut through illusions, but it can also cut against itself. A brilliant mind can create incredible ideas, but it can also create endless doubts. A curious mind can discover new worlds, but it can also struggle to appreciate the one it already lives in. The goal is not to become less intelligent. The goal is to become balanced, to think deeply, but also feel deeply, to question everything, but still enjoy something simple, to search for answers, but also accept that some mysteries make life meaningful. Because intelligence is not a curse, it is a gift. but every gift comes with responsibility. The smartest people are not the ones who have escaped problems. They are the ones who learned how to use their minds without being trapped inside them. So, if you have ever felt like you think too much, if you have ever felt different because your mind never stops analyzing, if you have ever wondered why understanding more sometimes feels heavier, remember this: your mind is not broken, it is simply powerful, and power requires control. Because the greatest achievement is not having a mind that can understand everything. The greatest achievement is having a mind that knows when to think and when to simply live. At MindVault, we explore the hidden psychology behind the thoughts, behaviors, and patterns that shape human life. Because when you understand the mind, you understand yourself. And sometimes the biggest discovery is not learning more about the world outside you, it is learning how to live peacefully with the world inside you.